I caught my son, 22M, and his best friend's girlfriend, 24F, sleeping together. I, 38F, gave birth to my son J, 22 meters, when I was 16. He is my first child, and while we have had our ups and downs, I love him dearly and he's been through it all with me. He has struggled with some things throughout his life but seems to be on the right track as of now. Today we are close. Jay has a friend who he's known for about 4 or so years now, who we will call R. R, 25 meters. Has a good head on his shoulders, and I'm pretty sure that R has had a positive influence on Jay since meeting. He is the one who bailed Jay out of jail the last time he was arrested, and set him up with a job upon his release as well. I love R and I enjoy having him around. He is like family to us and is welcome around our house whenever. Around a year ago, R started dating a girl we will call H, 24F. If I'm being honest, H, to me, is like the daughter I've never had. I have 3 boys. I had 2 more some years after Jay with Jay's now stepfather. I have gotten to know and grown to love H from R bringing her around when him and Jay are hanging out. She is beautiful, smart, funny, talented, and we share similar interests. We are all heavily into the car scene, so we have bonded over that. Everyone can tell R loves her very much, and she seems to love him too. She treated him amazingly and their relationship seemed to be going good. There was never any indication that H and J were sleeping together. Not one. They had the most normal friend relationship you'd ever see. Almost brother and sister-in-law like. No flirting. No out-of-the-ordinary remarks ever made about H. And vice versa with H about J when we've gotten together. Strictly platonic. I probably would have never known or found out about this if it weren't for a certain set of random events. So, we have security cameras. Inside and out. Yes, they are for security. But we live in a fairly safe neighborhood. So, while they're not there for show, me nor my husband don't ever check them unless an incident happens. Jay knows this. A few days ago our dog out and we couldn't for the life of us figure out how she managed to slip out. So I decided to check out cameras to see if there was an opening I may have missed. As I'm rewinding, lo and behold, there is my son and H. The rewind was on a fast-forward speed, and when I paused it, it paused on a frame of them, bits out and all, having intercourse on our couch. I was horrified and confused and kept rewinding it to see how this started. And partially because I couldn't believe what the hell I just saw. It showed my son leading her into the house and putting on a movie. Some kissing happens, leading up to the rest of the stuff. I haven't brought this up to Jay and certainly not H, but it has been on my mind heavily. I thought I raised my son to have a better character than to overstep in this manner, especially to a close friend. My heart hurts for R because I know how much he cares about H and he considers Jay like a brother. I'm torn on what to do. Do I keep this to myself or make it known I know about their meetup? I'm not sure how long this has been going on, as I've only seen this one thing, but he seemed pretty comfortable leading her into the house and doing it so blatantly out in the open in the living room. Husband and I were work. Younger siblings in summer camp. Help on how to go about this. I'm a bit harsher in my approach. I would let him know what you saw and give him a deadline to tell R. Or you will. It's going to be horrible for R. But he needs to know he has neither a girlfriend nor a friend. He bailed him out of jail. The last time? I think you are in serious denial about your son. He sounds absolutely unworthy of your trust or anyone else's. I would suggest banning H from the house and give your son 24 hours to come clean, or he has to go. God only knows what else he's been up to. You can't let him continue to lie to his best friend if you legitimately want him to be a good person. And you can't ignore what happened because that makes you complicit in cheating. Tell your son and H what you saw, that you are beyond disappointed in both of them, and that they have 1 hour to tell R themselves before you do it, including that you have footage to show him proving that it happened. That cheating is not something you will ever tolerate in your life and definitely not in your home. I would also tell them that, for the foreseeable future, you can't stomach seeing them together. So if they choose to continue having sex, they will need to meet up elsewhere and that you will not be able to support an actual relationship between them, knowing that it's rooted in betrayal and lies. Tell your son you still love him and always will because he is your son, but that you are deeply disappointed in him right now, and that disappointment is going to take time to overcome and will only happen if he spends the rest of his life being completely honest with everyone in it. How did the dog get out? Here's what I'd like to do in your position. And I'm using fake names because stories with initials are awful. John, I need to tell you something. I happened to look at the security camera footage recently and I saw you and Hannah in the living room on Thursday. I'm going to assume you know what I saw you doing. You're an adult and I don't want to get involved in your personal romantic decisions. But you know I consider Hannah and Roy to be family friends. Not just your friends. And I'm not going to be comfortable spending time with them if I'm keeping a secret that involves their relationship. And then see what he says. Which will hopefully be, I understand, Mom, I'll sort this out with them. But it might not. This is all very unfortunate, but how did the dog get out? What kind of legal trouble has your son been in? How many times has he been arrested? Does he also have a history of dishonesty, cheating, or selfish behavior that is not illegal, but hurts people? Look, I know you are his mom and you love your son. But what your son is doing is really low, sleazy, and ugly. Is this new behavior for him to be so selfish and disrespectful? Or is it just a continuation of who he has always been? This man R bailed your son out of jail and found a job for him. And this is how your son repays his generosity and kindness. It's pretty hard to find any way to excuse this. The only possible way this might be okay is if R knows about it and is okay with it. But considering that your son and H are sneaking around and using your home for their hookups, that's unlikely. I thought I raised my son to have a better character than to overstep in this manner. Especially to a close friend. Didn't you say that your son had been bailed out of jail previously? And it doesn't sound like it was the first time. He's not a good guy. Just tell your son you saw what you saw and tell him to never use your house again to stab a good friend in the back. Imagine betraying your best friend. Someone that had your back and has been fighting in your corner in this way. Truly a disappointment of a person. R has been good to your family. Someone has to tell him. Don't be that person that believes merely asking liars to be honest will magically work. It's time for a hard lesson. First, don't apologize for reviewing the footage. They are your security cameras and you get to use them as you see fit. If that wasn't enough, your reasons for reviewing, again, your own footage on your own security system, was completely ordinary. If he's foolish enough to have sex in front of a camera, that's his problem. Second, R deserves the same consideration regarding being informed of something of material interest to him that you do. If your partner were cheating on you, I presume you would not appreciate being kept in the dark by a conspiracy of silence. If you regard R as a close associate, expect to lose him when this comes out and it was revealed that you knew but didn't tell him. At that point, he knows he can't trust you. Or such would be the case if you elect that path. I'd be inclined to tell Jay that you really don't appreciate being put in this position by him. and that he has some reasonably short interval to come clean with R. He can tell him, or you will bury him in his lies. Don't make yourself an accomplice. Withholding vital information is still lying in my book. Sorry, but your son doesn't sound like too good of a guy. You and him both need that realization and acceptance before things can change. Did you find the dog? I, 38F, gave birth to my son J, 22 meters. When I was 16. He is my first child. Geez. I would hope so. Bailed J out of jail the last time he was arrested. The last time? You mean your son gets arrested on a regular basis? How about telling him, it was stupid to have sex with your friends GF. And even dumber to have it in my couch. As you live with me, we will discuss a repayment plan to get couch cleaned. Lastly, I want to hear that you manned up and tell your soon-to-be ex-friend that you were a terrible friend, etc. The moment they did it in your house, it became your business. I would never let him bring the trash H in my house again, and if he ever brought R in my house again, I'd tell R straight up, because I am not gonna lie for him. I would probably also kick him out, frankly. Give him a month to find a place. Assuming he lives at home. So he experiences some kind of consequence for him being a POS. Your son hasn't changed, he is still a terrible person clearly. Seems unlikely he will ever change. Just as who he is at that point. I'd tell Jay to tell him himself, or I'd contact R myself to tell him about it all. You talk to your boy. You ream him one. The sad thing is, this may be who he is. Let him know he does it again, you are letting his friend know and follow through. Sorry. That's so awful. Throw his ass under the bus. Kid needs real consequences to learn other people's feelings aren't just some sick game to play with.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.